that smooth shit. That's that smooth shit. Okay, we're gonna cut the music, and get to business. Welcome to the Adrian X Maya Enlightenment program broadcast episode show, where this channel, I'm your host, I'm your powerful influencer, I'm Adrian X Maya, or AD. We're here to give you information, to get you information, and we're here giving out knowledge. And having knowledge here means that you have a common sense to know, which is in knowledge, the word knowledge. You have enough common sense to know not to step over the edge of the cliff. You know what I'm saying? So we have enough common sense here to bring forth knowledge and information to give you, to put you in formation. So having said all that, today we need to we're going to actually do a few things here today. But today's topic of discussion is called we're going to be talking about a book called The 48 Laws of Power in Reversal, and this is written by an anonymous writer. That we need to, set the record straight, because a lot of people is still, far into the 48 Laws of Power. They don't know nothing about this book that we're going to be talking about today. So this is some exclusive shit. You know what I'm saying? Only my tight circle know about this stuff, because this is a sacred text that, that people really need to promote aside from the 48 Laws of Power. Because like I told you when I was breaking down the 48 Laws of Black Empowerment, the 48 Laws of the 48 Laws of Power is there to uh, to present to you how to cheat people, how to lie to people, and how to fuck over people. And that's not what we're here to do as human beings on this planet. We're here to help other people. We're here to help people prosper. We're here to enlighten people. And we're here to just help people that need the most essential help. You know what I'm saying? So before we even get into the book, I want to read an African proverb. I haven't done that in a while. Usually before uh, I get into the heavy content, I always like to preface my my program with a African proverb. I know with the 48 laws of power, I don't believe I did the last time I was on YouTube. So this time I want to kind of break the ice with this African proverb. And on this channel, I also want to say this because there's a lot of people that tend to use Google as a form of scholarship on this channel. You'll see me do that sometimes, but here we're old school. It's just kind of like a schoolhouse thing, you know what I'm saying? Bobby Hemmett type stuff, you know what I'm saying? Type shit, you know what I'm saying? Dr. Africa, where we pull out books and we pull out different things from different texts and things of that sort. So here you're not gonna see me doing this, you know. A lot of people on YouTube are a part of the conscious community. I'm not a part of that community, any longer, because it's been diluted, and it's been a lot of different agents and infiltrators have been a part of the movement. So I'm out of that. I've been out of it for quite some time now. I'm just doing my own thing. You can call this is the subconscious community for me now, or the soul tribe community, whatever you want to call it. But you don't want I don't want to be labeled a part of the conscious community, because that's not my agenda. Because a lot of the stuff in the conscious community is no different from religion now. You know, now it has shifted. The paradigm has shifted to the conscious community, and that ain't got nothing to do with this channel over here. I just want to make that disclaimer. So having said all that, uh it's been a minute since I've been here, but I'm back. And today we're going to be talking about, again, the 48 laws of power. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about, bear with me real quick. Hold on. Let me get this out the way, because this is not supposed to be here. Actually, let's do this bit real quick. It's a slight little technical difficulties right now. Real quick. Hold on just a minute. Let me pull it up, because I'm reading this African proverb. So give me a minute real quick. Okay, this African proverb is called the Sun People versus the Ice People. Okay. So, and then at the end, of course, we're going to get the moral of the story. Okay. So it goes something like this for the Sun People versus the Ice People. Here it go. Hold on. Here it go. So again, people, we're actually reading from text. We're not just making up stuff, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people on YouTube nowadays, they just make up things and they just say anything, and they got so many followers that are gullible, they're more prone to believe whatever that YouTuber puts out. On this channel, we're not just putting out anything. If you want just any type of content, then go see your regular everyday YouTubers. A lot of people talking about gematria, witchcraft, Jewish mysticism. They don't know anything about these subjects. They haven't studied them long enough. They're just going along with what the trend is, and then they just plugging in whatever falls, wherever it falls, and wherever their chips may land them. You know what I'm saying? They shoot for the stars and they aim for the moon, but they didn't land nowhere with that knowledge that they bringing you. It's actually not knowledge, is pseudo. So let's get into it though. I'm done. Let me stop clowning at people. All right. So it says, once upon a time, the universe created the sun people, right? And the sun people lived under the sun. Okay. Thus, the sun people were the only people on the entire planet. Okay. In addition, the sun people look just like me and you, and Ogun and Ampu, also known as Anubis. Baby Ampu in Ogun. Okay, we got the spirit of Ogun today. All right. So having said that, the Sun people were very vibrant. They were very happy. They were very honest. They were very loving, and they were very compassionate people. Okay. In addition to that, the Sun people, uh, again, they lived under the sun. The sun provided them with every nutrient they needed. Okay, it provided them with everything as far as agriculture is concerned, as far as photosynthesis is concerned, as far as just everything they need, because we know the sun is the heart of the solar system that keeps the planets together. All right. In addition to that, um, the sun people had food, jewelry, gold, diamonds, cows, birds, fresh drinking water, milk, and fruit, and just everything that you can imagine what the sun people could have. These were the chosen people, or what you would say, the chosen ones. Okay. And then henceforth that if the sun people ever was hungry, okay, they could climb up a tree and get some bananas, they can get some strawberries, they can get some apples, they can get oranges, because the earth was so abundant. You know what I'm saying? The earth was abundant. It was plentiful from where they resided at and everything. Okay. So having said that, the Sun people lived in a paradise on earth. Okay, the Sun people lived on a paradise on earth. Okay, and furthermore, the Sun people were so loving that they did everything for everybody, no matter who they were. Like Dr. John Henry Clark said, we are great hosts for other cultures and other people that come over to explore and find out what's going on with us. But in the meantime, we don't pay attention to them backstabbing us and stuff like that. But I'm kind of jumping the gun, but it's it's leading up to something. Okay. All right. So having said that, um, so therefore the Sun people would never do anything unless everybody could benefit from it. All right. And that's the whole point of having the earth and having people. Okay. We supposed to benefit from everybody. Okay. What affects you also affects me. All right. And this is gonna tie in to the 48 laws of reversal. Some of what I'm talking about is gonna tie into that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. So having said that, uh, therefore, again, the some people would never do anything unless everybody could benefit from it. There was no such thing as selfishness with the Sun people. Again, let me repeat that. There was no such thing as selfishness with the Sun people. There was no such thing as I with the Sun people. Okay, there was no such thing as me with the Sun people. The Sun people lived in an abundant life under the sun. Okay, and the Sun people viewed the sun as a great symbol of life. The sun became the center of the life, and the sun became the symbol of the universe. Okay, so when people, let me interject now. I'm breaking from that. Let me interject. So the Sun people were not worshiping the sun. We got to understand that too. The Sun people was just acknowledging that the sun was there to help them. You get what I'm saying? The sun is there to provide for them, okay? Because you got to remember the sun is a part of the masculine energy. So masculine energy is there to provide, to procreate, for provision, and for protection. And don't the sun provide that for the sun people? Okay, and we should know by now when I say the sun people who I'm really talking about. Okay, we know who the sun people are on this planet. All right. So having said that, let's go back to it. Let's go back into where I was. So, moreover, the reason the sun became symbolic to the universe is because the sun is the closest thing to the universe, and that the whole universe revolves around the sun, just as all things in existence revolves around the universe. Okay? So the sun people were living their best lives, having fun, chilling out, and loving life. You know how black people are. We always, having fun and celebrating and just being having a brotherhood, having a sisterhood, having that camaraderie. You get what I'm saying? So having said that, let's keep going. There were no murders from the sun people. Okay, there were no homelessness with the sun people. There were no hunger with the sun people. There were no jealousy with the sun people. There were no need for jealousy because there was enough to go around uh, with the sun. Okay, there was enough to go around, enough to go around. There was no need for competition because everybody practiced Ubuntu. And Ubuntu in Swahili means I am because we are, and we are because I am. Okay? All right? And you get that from the, I can't even think of it right now. You get that from Kwanzaa with the 7 principles. Okay? All right? So having said that, all right, let's go down. All right, but then for some reason, the universe, the ice people, were people who were stripped of their melanin, the chemical that produces your skin, brown, dark, copper, gold, and black. That's called melanin, okay? And it is a divine chemical. Only people with melanin can reach the highest echelons of spirituality or spiritual consciousness. Let me say that again. Only people with melanin can reach the highest echelon of spirituality or spiritual consciousness. Okay? So, for some reason, when the universe created the ice people, he stripped them of all their melanin. As a result, in being stripped of all of their melanin, they were not able to experience compassion, love for other people, any empathy for people who didn't look like them, and they lived in the caves without the sun. And because they lived without the sun, they couldn't grow bananas, strawberries, apples, oranges, grapes, bananas, so on and so forth. Okay? They didn't have any fish that they could hunt in order to feed their families. There was no meat to make shrimps, or what the South people would say, scrimps. All right, let me stop. There was no meat to make a cheese steak or some goat ribs. Nothing. Okay? They didn't have the gold, diamond, or copper for jewelry. All right. They didn't have a nice, warm, loving, and an abundant society. They had to crawl on all fours. Okay. They had to crawl on all fours in the caves. They hid in the caves because the caves were the only place they could find some heat. They had no melanin, so their bodies could not trap their heat inside. They had no real food, so they had to eat mice, roaches, rats, vermin, and even the ice people died. They had to eat each other. You see how that's sick and how sick that is? That's not cool. All right, you don't want to never eat nobody. I don't care what the situation is. Hence, the term savage, which means to eat other people. Okay, eat other people. So in essence, they developed aggression. They became angry. All right. There was never enough to go around. Unlike the sun people, there was always enough to go around with the sun people. But the ice people, there was never enough to go around. Never. They had to deceive each other. They had to run con games with each other. They had to manipulate each other, and this is how the culture of the Iceman and woman evolved. Okay, and to move forward. Okay, and then one day, the Iceman and woman decided to leave the caves, and they tried to get away from the ice. So guess what? They ventured out of the ice box, called Europe, and they ventured down, and before you know it, they were in the land of the sun. Next, they met the sun people, which is the great infinity great ancestors of ours who lived in the motherland called Africa. Some people call it a Kebulan, or some people call it Kemet, some people call it Ethiopia, or some people would call it Pangea, when it was a supercontinent. Before all the continents broke apart, it was called Pangea. Okay, where it was one big supercontinent. Okay, so having said that, the original land of the Sun people, excuse the background noise, I got the patio door open, so you're gonna hear some noise. All right, forget that. Focus on the message. All right, stay awake. All right, so the original land of the Sun people. All right, and when our ancestors, the Sun people, met their counterpart, the Ice people, we embraced them like brothers and sisters. Like what I said with Dr. John Henry Clark, what he said, we always are a great host for other people and for our enemies in disguise. You know what I'm saying? They look like friends, but in disguise they are our enemies. Okay. Let's see. And it says we taught them how to cook, build a family, raise children, hunt, pray to the universe, or meditate and clean their bodies, grow food, take care of animals, build boats to go fish, and much, much more. We treated them like they were family because some people always looked out for people, for everybody. Okay, however, that was a big mistake because the ice people had developed a culture of deception, manipulation, and dishonesty. That's Machiavellian politics, aka the 48 laws of power that we're gonna be that's the book that a lot of people are reading, or whether they're reading it or not, they they have been practiced witchcraft on so much that they practice it on themselves and other people and they don't know it. Okay. But I digress. Let me keep going, okay? Because we still going down this rabbit hole. All right. So having said that, however, again, that was a big mistake because the ice people had developed a culture of deception, manipulation, and dishonesty. The ice people tricked our people, okay, and into thinking that they were civilized. Okay, therefore, the more that the Sun people helped the Ice people became more jealous and envious of the Sun people, and they plotted to take everything that the Sun people had. Okay, and then having said that, okay, Thus, the reason why the some people are in charge and running things now is because they are smarter. It's not, excuse me, it's not because they are smarter, wiser, or divine. Okay, let's read that again. Thus, the reason why the ICE people are in charge and running things now is not because they are smarter, wiser, or divine. It's because they are more malicious, conniving, deceptive, or deceitful, and cunning than the sun people. Okay? Because we don't operate like that. Let's go down more. All right. The some people are honest and they will tell you how they feel. The some people have nothing to hide. It's go. I'm telling you, when we start reading the 48 laws of reversal, some of this is gonna come back to you. All right. Some of this is gonna come back to you. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. And this goes beyond race and gender sometimes. Some of what we talk about is gonna go beyond race and gender. Okay. Some of it, not all of it. All right. So having said that, meanwhile, ICE people will smile in your face and stab you in the back. The ICE people do not know how to be honest with the Sun people. The ICE people are jealous of the Sun people for our melanin in history. During the times when the ICE people were in the caves eating rats, we were creating the greatest civilization that the world has ever seen. Okay? So always remember, ICE culture is based on ICE culture is based on dishonesty and deception. Fast forward to today, to modern times. In ICE culture, the ICE people only believe that everything that is written on paper is true. On the other hand, with the some people, our word is our bond. That's how we was able to connect. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have to do all this spellbound stuff. You know what I'm saying? Writing stuff down, because words cast spells. All right. And having said that, if you are a son, man, or woman, if you make a verbal agreement, then we are good. That's how the Sun people live. But that's not how ICE people live. The ICE people will tell you one thing to your face and another thing on paper. The ICE people are mean, evil, deceptive, cunning. So be careful what you say and do, because the ICE people have declared war on Sun people, but they have not told us. The ICE people are always watching to try and take you down. So don't be scared. Don't be apprehensive. Live your life to the fullest, but never forget where the ICE people come from and why they act like, or why they act the way that they act. Okay? Let's keep going. We still got more. This is the last part. All right. It is not only sun versus ice. It is also sun versus sand. Because just like you have the ice man and woman, you have sand man and sand woman. The Arab is something else, not not all, but most, excuse me, generally speaking. They do not like Africans. The sand people have produced a mean, nasty, inhumane character as a result of evolution in the sand, hot, without any water. In the meantime, it is also the sun versus the mountain people. Okay, the mountain people had their traumas in the mountains. To add more, all three of these groups from Asia, the European, or come from Asia, excuse me. The Europeans, Arabs, and Asia are all Asiatic people. They are all cousins. Okay? So having said that, some of this is going to resonate with the stuff that we read today. Okay? So I just want you to know that. I want you to brace yourself. I want you to overstand, understand, and understand that. So having said that, we about to get into today's text. We going back to the basics, baby. All right, we going back to the basics where we actually read. because some people are afraid of books now. I'm doing an ebook, but it's still a book. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta read, man. Reading is fundamental, and so is understanding too, because a person can read something and not understand it. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely have to understand the things that you read. So when we read this, by the way, we're only going to read 1 through 25 today, and then I'm going to give you 26 to 48 some other day. All right? So we need you to come back. So I need you to hit that like button. I need you to hit that subscribe button. I need you to share it with people. I need you to comment positive affirmations, give your critiques, give your praises. You get what I'm saying? And if you hating, you can dislike with your hating ass. You can do that too. All right, so I ain't tripping. Just whatever you want to do. All right. So the first law, when it comes to the 48 laws of power and reversal, remember, this was written by an anonymous writer, so we don't know if it's a man or a woman. And before I get into the first law, there's one more preface I have to do. So the author, he gave a quote that I want to talk about. Break that down before we actually get into the text. He says our every great action and idea turns against us psychologically and socially. And the person that said that was Emil Charon. He was a Romanian author and philosopher. He was very pessimistic when it comes to, he wrote tons of books or essays rather about suicide and how life is hard and how, we got to figure things out. I think he said something to the nature of like Jesus got crucified, on a cross, supposedly and allegedly throughout history. Um, but he said, as something to the nature, as we live our lives every day, are we not receiving the same type of crucifixion as Jesus did, or whatever? So he was very heavy into pessimism, nihilism, and all of that. So nothingness, nihilism is nothingness. A person that thinks of like life has no meaning or has no purpose or has no reason. Okay, so he was one of those type of thinkers. All right. So having said that, I had to really contemplate about this when he said this quote. And what I thought about when he said that, I wrote it down just so I wouldn't forget. All right. What I thought about pretty much when he said, that our every great action and idea turns against us psychologically and socially. What came to my mind was the civil rights movement. And I'm going to tell you why I thought about the civil rights movement. Okay. Because MLK, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., one of our greatest ancestors to live in this nation, man, he is a man that I hold that man in high esteem. He's up here, bro. And sis, he's up here he's up here, all the way up here. You can't even see the level where I'm pointing to where he's at. You know what I'm saying? But I brought that movement up because after years and years of combating evil, racism, and injustices with the Jim Crow era and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, he with his non-violent action movement, it did create a buzz. See, so that goes back to when he says our every great action and idea. So the non-violent movement and action, it was an idea, then it became an action. And then this is the part when it turns against us psychologically and socially. I'm about to get to that part because I actually agree with him on this quote. I ain't gonna say it. I agree with him overall when it comes to life. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying generally speaking that this quote is true, but I'm gonna say in this particular instance right here, the civil rights movement example that I'm about to use, he was dead on about that. Okay, so here it goes. What I was thinking after MLK did all of that and the Civil Rights Bill was passed in 1964. He did all of that, okay? He was a Christian too, and this is a predominantly Christian nation. Why after all of that, we had lived to see one of the greatest Christians to have ever lived on this, to witness in the 21st century. We witnessed that. But how come he got assassinated in a predominantly Christian religion or nation? How did he get assassinated? Because he was doing the right thing. You would think, like he said, with our every great action and idea, you would think with the great action and the great idea that he put forth for a predominantly Christian nation to follow, and you already know he studied Jesus to the T. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you do. You study your heroes. You don't merely worship them and kiss their feet like I've said before. You don't just kiss, you don't blindly just accept anybody and just worship them. That's not how you do it. I'm not worshiping Argon. I'm not worshiping Anpu. I'm taking on their characteristics, or I'm taking on attributes that are actually beneficial to humanity. That's what we doing. We not living in no fantasy here. Okay, when you blindly just worship things, that's dangerous. Do you know how dangerous that is? If you ain't studied it, if you ain't seen what the attributes of that thing or that person is, if you just blindly worship something, that you're already heading on the wrong path. Okay, you're on the wrong path if you just blindly on your knees worshiping something. Okay, all right. So I say all that to say is that that's the prime example of what he was talking about. Siron, our every great action and idea turns against us psychologically and socially. Okay, and then you can even fast forward to add on to more of that for that quote and why it's so prevalent for this example that I'm using. Afterwards, that bill that got passed, that was meant for our people, right? It was met, that bill was undeniably meant for black people, right? Now, granted, some laws in the states, everybody was able to, uh, change their attitudes to some degree, right? That bill helped to some degree eliminate some racism, but it's still covert racism now. Instead of it being overt racism, it turned into covert racism because of the laws. Okay, and not only that, the Civil Rights Bill, not only that it's not for black people, it's not for us, it's for everybody else. The bill paved the way for everybody else instead of what it was intended for, which it was for the black people, okay, the melanated people, because we was the ones getting discriminated and told to leave the restaurants and getting murdered and getting castrated and all these different things, only to come to find out when it was time to get our piece of the pie, we wasn't even left with the crumbs. Everybody else got it. Women's rights got it with the Civil Rights Bill. The Japanese were awarded reparations for Hiroshima. The Chinese were awarded reparations. The so-called Jewish people for the Holocaust, excuse me, the German Holocaust, or the Jewish Holocaust rather, excuse me, they will reap the benefits of receiving reparations. And then the so-called Native Americans, the $2 Indians, white people expo- white people in disguise as Native Americans. They're playing as Native Americans. That's where the term $2 Indian came from. Okay, because it was a lot of white people that disguised themselves as Native Americans so they could get those reparations, so they can get access to those casinos and stuff like that. So my point is, CM Saran was on point when he said our every great action and idea turns against us psychologically and socially when it comes to the civil rights era. And you can point out other examples in life too. But when you say generally speaking, I'm not agreeing with that. I'm not going to say generally speaking that every great action and idea turns against us psychologically, socially. I say in specific moments and times that that can play a part. It can play a part in somebody's life. Okay. Now, okay, having said that, I prefaced this long enough. That was a was that 43-minute preface. But we gotta get into it. We gotta get into it, man. We can't just be saying anything. You have to understand what's being laid out to you, okay? So having said that, we're gonna go to the first one. All right, the first one is reciprocity, the 48 laws of power and reversal. The first law is reciprocity, okay? And I'm going to read it and then give my commentary. Now, granted, on some of these laws, I'm not going to give no commentary because some of them is pretty it's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so I won't need to give no commentary on it. All right, so let's go with this one. What is the origin of human loyalty? Do words suffice? Perhaps the origin cannot be named, yet still we understand it. Discover each person's gift, acknowledge them, value something of what others value. Confucius was once asked to sum up his entire philosophy in one word: reciprocity. He answered. Now, I'm going to read a few things and then I'm going to give my commentary. All right. So we know what the law of reciprocity. Let's go with this first before I read those things. The law of reciprocity goes along with the golden rule: do unto others in which you will wish they would do unto you. Okay, or treat others like you would want to be treated. Okay. Now, I don't say do that to everybody. For me personally, I say treat good people good and treat bad people accordingly. Okay? So, having said that, I'm going to read a few things that's going to resonate with the word with this first law, which is reciprocity. I'm big on reciprocity. I can't stand when I see people or a person like one person is giving their all and then the other person ain't getting in nothing in return. It's lump-sided. You know what I'm saying? The scales are unbalanced. Okay? All right. So we don't live like that over here. All right. We definitely respect each other. We definitely gonna pour into each other. If I got a little bit in my glass and whatever I got in my glass, I'm gonna pour into yours or whatever I have. Okay. So, having said that, let's go into what ties in to reciprocity. Okay, what ties in to the into reciprocity is the law of grace. The law of grace is karma can be experienced to the letter of the law or in mercy and grace. In other words, you give love, mercy, and grace to others, and you receive the same in return. Okay, and let's go to something else that I wanted to read. All right, this one is regarding giving and receiving. Giving and receiving always occurs in balance. Okay, it is important to receive gratefully as it is to give voluntarily, generously, and with no expectations. Our willingness to keep the energy flowing in and out of our lives support the energy in expanding. The corollary to the principle of giving and receiving is that we give ourselves to others. Since we are all one, when we are giving to another, we are giving to ourselves. All right. So we must understand that. If you don't know about that, that ties into the law of abundance, the law of reciprocity, and the law of divine oneness. Okay, that all ties together. If you haven't seen my video of the law of divine oneness, part 1, part 2, you should go check that out on this channel too. All right, and then let's talk about harmony in relationships. Okay, so this also ties into reciprocity. Okay, every relationship in our lives reflects our relationships with ourselves. Every person we attract is there to support us in our opening our hearts and reclaiming our power. When we truly love ourselves and feel the power and perfection that we are, we attract loving, harmonious relationships with others. Okay, and having said that, that's five. When you understand that, understand harmony in relationships, you have you have mastered the 5 pillars of life, which is honor, ethics, responsibility, accountability, and integrity. Okay, all those principles are the starting principles, defining principles of life. Okay, so having said that, if you understand the law of reciprocity, you'll have a mutual support group too. Okay, and you need mutual support groups. Let me also read that too before we move on to the next law. Okay, so this one says our universe functions as a mutual support system in which each and everything in existence relates to and affects every other thing. Every person and circumstance in our lives is there to support us by reflecting back to us the present state of our consciousness. Despite the prevalent belief that we are naturally competitive and adversarial, we ain't like the ice people over here. We always have the choice to create environments that are harmonious, nurturing, and mutually supportive. Choosing to join with others who share a commitment to living in mutual support is both self-loving and empowering. Okay? So having said that, that all ties into reciprocity. All right. So once you understand that, you know how to treat other people. All right. If you don't understand that, all your relationships are gonna fail. And that's whether that's between the opposite sex with your lover or your mate, or with a friend, because you burnt the bridge, because you don't understand or understand reciprocity, or with your group. You're going to fall from the group because you don't understand reciprocity. You don't understand human decency and courtesy. Okay? And part of that has a lot to do of how you were brought up. Okay? You can't blame nobody but yourself, because you have to understand again the 5 pillars of life. Okay, the 5 pillars of life. Integrity. When you have integrity, you hold your head up high. You walk like 1,000 ancestors are with you. You get what I'm saying? You walk like that. You walk it like you talk it. You know what I'm saying? You know how to, you if you need to do some straightening, like Migos say, if you need to do some straightening, you know how to do that because you understand what integrity is. Honor. When you are honorable, you are noble, you are respectful. You get what I'm saying? It goes back to do unto others thing that Jesus quote, the golden rule. Okay? Confucius said it too, but he said it in a different way. Okay? Uh, what else? Accountability. When you are accountable for your own, when you are accountable or when you have accountability, it means to account for one's own ability. All right, accountability means to account for one's own ability. Okay, responsibility, to respond to one's own ability. Okay, responsibility. And then the last one is going to be ethics. When you have a code of ethics, you know how to operate amongst your people or amongst people. You understand the code. You never are off code. You're not doing it when something is sacred in your mutual support group or within yourself, and you know it's enemies around. You're not practicing that type of ethics with them because it's not going to resonate with them. You do it with the people that you have built a rapport and a solid relationship with. Okay, this is what reciprocity is all about, and a lot of y'all need to understand the basics. And it's that. Let me say this real quick. Let me say this, and I'm gonna add my own spin to it. I gotta honor my ancestors by saying this. Doctor Yosef Ben Yakinen, Doctor Ben, he said something very profound. He said an uneducated man is dangerous. Malcolm X later or earlier prior to him said that an educated man is dangerous. Now those are two polar opposite, but both quotes are true. Okay, I'm adding my own spin to it. This is what AD says. I say a miseducated person is dangerous. So okay, we got an educated person, dangerous. That's a different type of danger. An uneducated or undereducated person, that's another different type of danger. And then there's the miseducated man. This is the man that believes he has the gospel and he's preaching it around to everybody, but it's really not the case. So we got the gospel of white supremacy. We got the gospel of feminism. We got the gospel of of uh of imperialism. We got the gospel of capitalism. We got the gospel of these different things, and a lot of these miseducated folks and they thinking in their mind that they are the most genius and the most smartest people on the planet. Man, we in a world full of trouble because a lot of the stuff that we're learning or what we have been taught has either miseducated us or undereducated us. And I don't even like the word I don't even like the word educate because the word educate means to take out. But for the sake of just universal terms, everybody knows educate to mean to teach somebody something, to learn. I like to use the word enlighten. All right, and let's go to the person that is educated. The person that is very, very educated or enlightened is dangerous to the status quo. He ain't dangerous to the point where he's going to hurt somebody or kill somebody in a way that's going to knock them off the block and just doing it out of no reason and just doing it for fun. He's educating people so he can make the world a better place. That's what makes him dangerous to the status quo. Okay, so yeah, he's dangerous in that sense. Okay, when you're undereducated, of course, you don't know nothing, you're dangerous because you can do things and you think it's right, or you can do things and you know it's wrong, or you don't know it's wrong, rather, excuse me, because you're uneducated. You do things and you know it's wrong and you go out and do it. You know what I'm saying? You commit crimes, you steal from people, you do all these different things out here that makes you in a class that's subhuman. Okay, so that's what happens when people are undereducated or uneducated. They do things that a educated person wouldn't do. Okay, and then a miseducated person looks like an educated person, but they're not really educated. They're miseducated because they think they know something, and they've been embedded with that for a long time that they cannot get out of their mindset. And then on top of that, they're teaching it to other people. That's very dangerous. Okay, so I would say all of them has their level of danger, but it's levels to it. Again, it's levels to it. So you gotta understand that. All right, you gotta understand that. All right, so either you're educated, uneducated, or miseducated. You better choose wisely. All right, you better choose wisely between those three things. All right, so we're gonna go to the next one. All right, so the next one is law number 2, and it says simplicity. Okay, abandon your ego in both friendship and love. As a child, you trusted and loved with abandon. As a child, you were adored beyond measure by all who you saw. In letting go of power, are we not childlike once more? Ego, ego simplicity does not clamor for laws or rewards. I steer like a lotus, you have no enemies. Now, for me personally, I get what he's saying, he or she is saying. When there's too much pride in the room or too much ego in the room, there leaves no room for wisdom. Okay, excuse me. However, ego is not necessarily a bad thing because ego makes up consciousness. Okay, it's just about having too much ego. If you have too much ego, then that's when it becomes a problem. Okay, but there's nothing wrong with having ego, because when you have ego, that just means you have consciousness. All right, and you just have to have the righteous type of consciousness, and that starts with the subconscious first. If your subconscious is not right, then your consciousness is not going to be righteous. So it always starts with the subconscious. That's why I said I'm not no longer a part of the conscious community, because a lot of the stuff they think a lot of people are doing out here, they think they're doing is righteous, but it's really not, or they think it's conscious and it's really not. You know what I'm saying? So I retreated from that. You know what I'm saying? I retreated from that, and that's another law that may that's gonna be coming up. Retreating from the crowd. I know I'm jumping ahead, but stick with me. All right. So all right, but in reality, I get what he's saying. He said, I steer like a lotus. Okay, so you're just like a lotus, you know what I'm saying? Like a flower, a beautiful flower just sitting there. You have no enemies, you know what I'm saying? But best believe it's somebody out there that's trying to pick that lotus. So regardless if you just being yourself, being cool, it's always somebody out there that's trying to hinder you, trying to throw shade. They try to do all these different backstabbing things to hinder you, but you gotta ignore that. Okay. So for me, I get what he's saying about having abandon your ego and be more like be child like in sort of a way. And in life you do, because you want to keep your creativity alive. You want to stay youthful. You want to do fitness. You want to do exercise. You want to write poems. So a lot of that does require you to abandon a lot of your ego. If you got a lot of ego, if your ego is just you can't even think straight. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be able to simmer down a little bit, simmer yourself down so you can be able to immerse yourself into that childlike state to not have as much ego. Okay. So he does make a profound point. However, it's like for me, it's like a hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? So of course you want to abandon your ego, but you don't want to abandon it completely. All right, you don't want to do that. Okay, you don't want to do that at all. All right. All right. So law number 3, it says display clear intentions. Okay, without the use of doubleness or guile. Okay. Who bothers to contend with my advice? I am benign. I am neutral. If intentions arise, I mediate them with you, beside you, and through you, and my friend. Together, we are not alone. No one wants to dwell alone. No one wants to succeed alone. No one wants to die alone. Okay? So, again, display clear intentions. You ain't gotta hide your hand. You just be yourself, be who you are. And this is pretty self-explanatory. You don't need to lie. You don't need to cheat. You don't need to steal. Work hard for what you have. And again, go back to the golden rule. Reciprocity, man. You know what I'm saying? We gotta start with the basics with y'all, because a lot of y'all are screwed up here, man. Y'all, we gotta start with morals with y'all. You know what I'm saying? We gotta start with morals with y'all, because y'all, this nation is become morally bankrupt. All right, all right. So, law number 4, it says say what is necessary. All right, say what is necessary. All right, say what is necessary without cruelty or contention. All right. Do not try to impress people with words. Be frugal. Okay. Appearing too cold or too clever drives others away. Even a fool can spot the charlatan. Okay. When you have a great deal to express, express it. Do I contradict myself? Of course. Moods and situations are ever changing. Act accordingly. After years of searching, I found 2 poets of the highest rank who lived centuries apart, who spoke identically. Their advice to you: don't try. In speaking, return to your true nature. I say don't try either. I always tell people to do your best. I do my best. I never try. I do my best. As long as you give your best efforts, you are being the best version of yourself, no matter what state you're in. Okay, whatever echelon you're on, whatever step you're on. Okay, the spiritual level step you're on, whatever you're on, you're doing something right when you can just be yourself and do your best. Okay, and the 2 people that he said that were identical in history was Su Tung Po, and then another guy from another era named Charles Bukowski. All right. Now, with just to give you a little breakdown, real quick. Hold on. Just to give you a little breakdown. So, Su Tung Po, also known as Sushi, was a philosopher. He was a poet. He was a politician. Okay. And he was a real Renaissance man during the Song Dynasty in China. Okay. And then with Charles Bukowski, he was a German poet too, American novelist, short story writer, and he had a great influence in America because he talked about the culture at the time, in the and he was talking about the cultural, the social norms, the culture, and economic ambience in his adopted home city of Los Angeles. Okay, And he would oftentimes write about poor Americans. He would talk about his relationships with women. He would talk about all these different things that was going on in society during this time. Okay, and the FBI kept a close eye on him because I guess he was speaking out. Okay, against the status quo. All right. So having said that, uh I take this as there is nothing new under the sun. You know what I'm saying? Everything, time is a cycle, man. We judge it on a linear scale from A, B, C, D, but it's really a cycle. It's not judged based from beginning to an end. Okay, time has no beginning or end, man. Like we gotta get rid of this westernized philosophy and psychology, man. It's running rampant and it's dumbing us all down. Okay, it's dumbing us all down. All right. So having said that, let's go to law number 5. Law number 5 is contentment. Not in titles, not in wealth, not in reputation, not in ceremony. In guileless contentment, my joy abides. Who is not envious of a simple soul? All the world tries to pollute and bribe it, yet who can remain as they are? Who can let go all tricks and cunning? See, it takes a lot more heart, in my humble opinion, to do righteous things than it is to do unrighteous things. It's easy to go out and piss somebody off and make somebody else's day bad, or you know what I'm saying? It's easy to go down that rabbit hole. But when you're actually doing good stuff, committing a random act of kindness out of nowhere to somebody, that's a different level of heart right there that a lot of people cannot do because it's just they just wasn't taught that. You know, they wasn't brought up that way because of the environment that they was brought up in was unnatural. Okay, so all right, let's go to law number 6. All right, it goes to retreat from the crowd. All right, retreat from the crowd. Bruce Lee said something profound. He said, "The weak man follows the crowd. However, the strong man walks alone." All right, so in retreating from the crowd, you find your path. All right. When you have found yourself and your true desires, the confusion of the crowd cannot sway you. Resolution is found alone. That's correct. And even in the Bible, it says, pray in your closet. All right. It says, don't pray at the synagogues. You're supposed to be praying in your closet. And a lot of people are going to church and doing all these different things to show God, oh, glory God, oh, Jesus, and all this. Like, that's no. You find resolution by yourself. I'm not saying you can't seek outside help beside yourself, but when you blindly when you blindly allow others to just give you things and you just accept it, it's something wrong with that. You're gonna get something that's not gonna benefit you. It really starts within you, okay? As within, so without. As above, so below. It starts with you. First the inner, then the outer. Okay? We gotta stop expecting stuff from outside foreign entities that are not meant to do us any well. They may come to us in disguise as something great and grand and beautiful. But when you really take the curtains down, when you really get down to the nitty gritty, they ain't shit. No, okay. Let's keep it going. Those who retreat must eventually return. Okay, after they have found revelation, or they have had a great epiphany, then they come back. I know because I've done it before. all great women and men have. We had to do our shadow work where we was MIA for a while. You know how I go. I ain't been on here for a while, so you know what I've been on. You know what I'm saying? I'm always retreating from the crowd and then coming back. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm Batman or Black Panther in this mother. Anyway, let me keep going. The crowd hides both the error and prudence of centuries. Joy is found once more with the common crowd. Affinity arises naturally as ever with the crowd. Who can subvert the laughter of the crowd? Let that be the highest genius and bitterest defeat, to live against the crowd. You see how life is? Life is a paradox, man. We can't live without the crowd, but we must depart from the crowd sometimes. You get what I'm saying? It has to be a balance. You know what I'm saying? You can't just always be out and about, and you can't always just be alone. You know what I'm saying? Because as a human being, you're meant to interact with other people. You know what I'm saying? You have to interact with other people. When you're in the crowd too much, you get lost in the error and the prudence, like what the author was talking about. Or if you by yourself too much, then you don't know how to handle being around everybody else because you've been by yourself too much. You get what I'm saying? So it has to be a balance. You have to do your shadow work, feel good, get through it, go out, have your fun, do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You just have to be balanced in your life. Don't put too much mustard on the veggie dog. God damn it. Don't put too much mustard on that damn veggie dog. That's enough. Dang. Y'all crazy. Anyway, our law number 7 out of the 48 laws of power in reversal. Relying only on what others have seen or been or done is to forsake life itself. Okay? Do not sever yourself from the very soil and roots of experience. Okay? Let me stop right there. People oftentimes say that experience is the best teacher, right? But I say, I always got one of my own. I say reflected on experiences are the best teachers, because you can experience a lot of stuff. If you haven't reflect on those experiences and learn from those experiences, then it hasn't taught you anything. So experience alone is not the best teacher. It's reflected on experiences makes the best is the greatest teacher. Is one of the best teachers, okay? Because you have to reflect on what happened in your life, whether it be good stuff or bad stuff. You have to reflect on it first. You know what I'm saying? To use profound discernment, then you go from there. Okay? Because people experience life all the time, but that don't mean they're learning from it. They could be going through life just being aloof to things around them, and they're not learning or soaking up no type of game. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So having said that, he's on point with them first 2 lines. All right? Though the result may not differ, the task itself is for you alone. Okay? Relying on the work of others, whence come the value of your labor, the years of sweat and toil which bound you to your calling, that alone is human dignity. Okay? So what if you are without credit or praise? You were never competing. You were engaging. A book like this is easy to write. You know why? I'm adding that on there. So is its opposite. Excuse me. All right. Yet, who stops to remind us of common sense? Who amongst the crowd praises this kind of simplicity? The ancients did not praise power. The ancients sought to neutralize and reverse it. Power is the origin of abuse, torture, and cruelty. Let me stop right there. One of the founding fathers said, absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's an undeniable truth. Indubitably. That's undeniable. Undoubtedly the truth. Okay? And let's go forward. There are no shortcuts to cooperation and understanding. Okay? If you're looking for shortcuts, others will despise you. If you want power, the long road is best. Beside your peers, put yourself last. If you want power, earn it. Okay? I wouldn't say put yourself last, because the first law of nature is self-preservation. So you must put yourself first. However, there are times in your life where you must be selfless, especially if you have a mutual support group. You have to, not be selfish. If you wouldn't even be in the mutual support group if you were selfish. So that's a good start if you're in a mutual support group. If you got a soul group or a spirit group or whatever you got, yes, you want to put them, you want to make sacrifices sometimes, and you want to dedicate yourself just to show people that you are loyal. You know what I'm saying? So that's good. You want to put them first in that regard, but you don't want to say, oh, I'm going to always put them first and just put yourself last. I don't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? It's somewhere. You have to draw a line in the sand somewhere, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. So of course, dealing with no shortcuts and stuff like that, you want to make sure that you put others before you in some cases, but not all the time. And definitely if you want power, you gotta just go through it, the hardships and the obstacles like everybody else did. Get your hands and your nails and everything dirty to get where you need to be. You know what I'm saying? So, and then it says on the last part of this, when the task is completed, retreat without comment. Okay, so once you completed your task and you didn't take no shortcuts, you do it and then just go away. And then people are going to appreciate, once you completed your task, if they got a real heart and soul, people going to appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to, your work speaks for itself. You ain't got to brag. You ain't got to do all that, because that's already bragging for you. If you already completed the task, or if you already putting in the work, that work speaks for itself. You get what I'm saying? You don't need to do nothing beyond that. Okay? No braggadocious, you know. Okay, so it says, the next one says, and this one's law number 8. It says, find the source, okay? Not the substitute. When other people praise you, your learning is stopped. Your thoughts are distracted. Your flaws are forgotten. Your weaknesses will return. Let me intervene. My coach used to say this when I was wrestling. He said, son, when you win, or if I did win a match, or if we all won, or whatever, he'd be like, you win, you celebrate, and then you need to forget about it. And I used to wonder, when I was in high school, why he used to say that. Because of what he or she is saying right there. If you dwell on it too long, your learning is gonna stop. You're not gonna want to grow because you're so caught up in the praise and then the compliments and then the flattery words, You know what I'm saying? Your thoughts become distracted because you're so engulfed with the compliments. You know what I'm saying? And then your flaws are forgotten. Then you forget, dang man, I don't you don't feel the need that you need to grow. You know what I'm saying? Your self-development stops because you're so focused on the praise. You're so mesmerized by the compliments. That's why they say don't let my words get to your head. You know what I'm saying? This is what he or she is talking about. Yeah, we going back to the basics. I know this stuff sounds so easy that a caveman can do it, but a lot of y'all don't have these qualities. Y'all don't have these qualities. Y'all are vanity queens and kings and queens. Now, there's nothing wrong with admiring yourself. I like to admire myself. Yeah, but don't be so engulfed in that you can't see nothing past that. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta understand that. Okay? Let's get back to it. Redouble your concentration on what counts. Get away from the noise and the flattery. All too often, the pantomime of power is praised. Meanwhile, its source remains concealed. Now, pantomime, just in case you don't know what it means like if you ever seen the people on the street that got their face painted and then they silent and they be pretending to pull stuff like this and going like this if they in a box, those people that act like mimes. And then if you go even further back to Roman and the ancient times in Europe, there was a lot of plays, stage plays and stuff like that, comedy dramas and stuff where people was, acting the fool, dancing and, doing this and doing that, bucking their eyes and doing all that. So it's just a way to act. It's just acting. It's playful, dramatic acting. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. All right. So return to the quality and value of your actions. Okay? Not the cheap or shallow echo, the real vitality of your gifts. Spurn, praise, adore criticism. Okay? So, law number 9. I slightly disagree with this, but we gonna break this down real quick. I'm gonna tell you why. Okay? Actions pass away quickly and are forgotten, but written words endure for centuries. Though actions will trump an argument, honest speech will overthrow empires. Okay, he said actions pass away quickly. They can. They can pass away quickly. They can. I'm not saying they can't. But you can have movements. Let's go back to the civil rights movement again, where they practiced non-violent action. That didn't pass away quickly, and that wasn't forgotten. That was a profound moment in history that nobody ain't ever forgot. And even prior to King doing it, racist Gandhi practiced nonviolent action with the British to break free from their empire in the 1940s. So we need to stop with that. That part I don't agree with. You know what I'm saying? That part I don't agree with. Actions don't simply pass. People don't forget how you acted towards them, or people don't forget actions, especially if it's against some evil or something unjust or unjust rather, and stuff like that. So actions don't necessarily pass quickly. No, they don't. Okay. But written words endure for centuries. Yeah, that's why we have books. So he's right about that. We have books and essays and stuff of people that wrote things 500 years plus, 200 years plus, 1,000 years plus, and all of that. So that is actually absolutely correct. Okay. It says, though actions will trump an argument, that's correct too. Honest speech will overthrow empires. Actually, I ain't even state to y'all what the law was. My bad. The pen is mightier than the sword. Okay, that's what the law number 9 is. And I can say to some degree that's true. Okay. Um, you know what I'm saying? When he or she says honest speech will overthrow empires, it can overthrow empires, but not all the time. Okay. You saw what they did to Jesus. You saw what they did to Malcolm X. You saw what they did to Martin Luther King. So honest speech can overthrow empires if the people, and even the people that you're going against, is convinced that, okay, yeah, man, we need to break free from our tyranny. But how many people of power is going to willingly just give up their power because somebody gave an honest speech? The people in power are looking at him like, nah, we got to get that mother sucker off the mat. We got to get him off the mat because he been too honest for us right now. And we don't need people waking up. We need them being like lost little puppies. You know what I'm saying? We need them like that. We need them to just blindly follow us. You know what I'm saying? So and stuff like that. So that's my leaning is like on that law. You know what I'm saying? So some of these laws I want to tell y'all, by the way. Some of these laws I agree with. Some of them I disagree with, and some of them I'm like caught between a rock and a hard place. Okay. And I believe me, I done read this like 5 times, and I'm still over here like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, some of this, I'm like, okay, I can be down with it, but like for this one, for instance, like I was kind of like, nah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Some of it's right, and some of it I had to kind of correct because of my own understanding. Okay. All right. So having said that, let's go to law number 10. Law number 10 says life is suffering. And another person, profound person, said that in history. Uh, Before I read this, his name was Buddha. Buddha said all life is suffering because we have attachments to things, our loved ones, cars, money, these different things. And then when we lose it, then we start crying, or we get angry, we get sad, or whatever the case may be, because we have our heart, our body, mind, and soul has been invested into these things. So when we lose them, we can't fathom the fact that we lost these things. You get what I'm saying? So having said that, I'm going to read this, and then I may provide some commentary for that too, some more commentary after I'm done reading. Okay. So having said that, so long as you avoid the deepest of all human truths, your own wisdom will seem shallow and cracked. Embrace your own pain and the pain of others. If I show you an oracle of pain, all law tables and all religion will crumble. Words fall silent. The sadness of the world is a wound in my heart also. When I am in pain, I am a human being once more. My affinity and understanding expands in misery. Okay? So let me read the law of conscious detachment. Okay? And then I want to read something about comfort and discomfort. Okay? So let's go into that, because that is very important. All right. This is going back to what the Buddha was talking about, the law of conscious detachment. Buddha's earthly teachings are best summarized with one of his statements. It is your resistance to what is excuse me. It is your resistance to what is that causes your suffering. And by suffering, he meant everything doesn't work in your life, relationship problems, loss of a loved one, loneliness. This is what I was talking about. Sickness, accidents, guilt, monetary hardship, unfulfilled desires, and so on. When you accept what is, you accept the unalterable realities in your life without resisting them. Some things are facts. They exist, and no matter how much you resist them, there is nothing you're going to be able to do about them. Change what you can change, but have the wisdom to accept unalterable situations as they are. Okay? All right? Without wasting mental or physical energy attempting to change what you cannot change. Okay? Out of acceptance involved a detachment, the ability to enjoy all the positive aspects of life, but to allow the negative to flow through you without resistance and without affecting you. Okay? So having said that, man, you gotta detach yourself from things that you think that's gonna cause you to suffer. You know what I'm saying? You can't be so engulfed or you worship these things so much that when you lose them, you can't fathom to think of yourself without them. You have to understand that life, everything that you see around you is temporary. It's not permanent. So you gotta understand that you're not permanent. The only thing that's permanent and that's common amongst us all is our soul. That's what keeps us connected in our spirit. You know what I'm saying? But the other stuff that you're crying about and all that, that don't mean nothing. It doesn't mean anything. What matters is your soul and your spirit. Okay? If your soul and your spirit ain't right, you not right. It don't matter what comes in your life anyway, whether that be a loved one, or whoever or whatever it is. Okay? You gotta get right with your soul. You gotta be able to look yourself in the mirror and be able to love yourself and accept yourself as your own best friend. Okay? Life, you're gonna go through some stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna go through things, and you just gotta still keep your head above water, still keep grinding. You still gotta keep going. Especially when it comes to men, like I was talking to one of my brothers the other day, we can't afford to fail once. And if we do fail, we can't stop and mope about it as men. We have to keep going. We got to keep that ball rolling. It doesn't matter what you're going through. You know what I'm saying? It's temporary anyway. It's there as an obstacle to teach you a lesson. What you gonna get out of that? Don't look at it as if you're suffering. And if you feel like that, ask the universe or whoever you pray to or whatever, or if you don't pray to nobody, say to yourself, give me the strength to be able to endure or persevere through this obstacle. Instead of saying, why me? You better level up like Goku. You better level up. That's what it takes. All right. So this is law number 11. Okay. For you to live your life, okay, you already depend on hundreds of other beings. Okay. For you to live your life, hundreds came before you and died. Okay. For you to live your life to completion, others will come after you. Okay. Looking both forwards and backwards, your life depends on other lives. Be grateful to those who serve you. Serve others in turn, and let that be your reward. Okay? When the crowd comes to you with praise, dismiss it as nothing. Praise their hidden gifts instead. Show them your love, not your talent. Allow yourself to be loved. Okay? I get that he's saying accept no reward, but it's nothing wrong with it. It's just when you say accept no reward, I can't do that, because the reason why it's okay to accept, like for me, if you worked hard, after you worked hard and did your best, you deserve some type of benefits. It's not to say that after you receive those benefits, you take your benefits and just run, but you do deserve something. Like something good is going to come out of it, whether it be that same day, 10 years from now, whatever you work hard from, you reap what you sow, whether that be something good or bad. It doesn't mean just because you receive a reward for it that, oh, it's all bad. Like now, if you're doing things like you trying to do something just to get a reward out of it, now I can see why he would say accept no reward, because now you're just doing it. You're just doing a task to receive a reward, and you're supposed to be just doing shit out of kindness of your heart. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to do things out of the kindness of your heart, not just to do it just because, oh, I gotta get something out of this. Like that's not, everything is not about that. You know what I'm saying? So you need to understand that everything is not about your selfish shade bird, monkey having ass. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand that. Damn. The world does not revolve around you. The world revolves around the sun in the universe, and that's it. All right. So law number 12, it says sincerity is neither a victim nor a seducer. Okay. If I were given 48 laws which taught me to lie and cheat, he or she is referencing the 48 laws of power. He or she is throwing shots at that book. Okay. See, y'all focus on what Cardi B, who she throwing shots on. Why don't y'all read text and see who beefing and texting in these profound texts? You know what I'm saying? Get something for real, man. Like even if you are concerned with the entertainment stuff, I mean, you gotta have a balance of real literary stuff, man. You hearing, man? This man throwing shots at Robert Greene. He ain't hiding his hand. Well, I guess he is kind of hiding his hand because it's anonymous, but you know what I'm saying. Robert Greene, we calling you out on this channel because that book that you wrote is witchcraft. I don't care what you say, bro. I don't care what you say. But anyway, let's go. All right. Let's read that again. If I were given 48 laws which taught me to lie and cheat, I might decide to write a book like this one. So I asked the tyrant, can you write a book like this one and not be affected by it? It is my wager that sincerity will trump deceit. Not always, but usually. Okay? All right. So this one is law number 13. Okay. It says the rarest jewels. Okay. The ancients held mercy and gratitude as the rarest jewels. Since most people are selfish, the selfish teach only selfishness. This is common to be extraordinary. Do not be selfish. Okay. And let me just do my thing and add like some wordplay on this. he or she said to be extraordinary. So in order to be extraordinary, you have to be extraordinary. You get it? To be extraordinary, you have to be extraordinary. All right? So, yeah, definitely be selfless. Be that diamond, you know what I'm saying, in the rough, you know what I'm saying? So, be that rare jewel that people be wanting to dig up. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be sought out for. If you just a rock, ain't nobody search. Think about all the rocks that we have. Anybody having access to a rock, they can just go outside and pick a rock. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be just a rock. And I ain't trying to, knock anything in nature. I'm just using this as an analogy. But when it comes to a diamond or a gold, you have to find that. You have to really seek that out. You know why? Because those are rare jewels, diamonds, jades, and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You want to be that. And that your value comes when you show people your value. And that starts with your morals. Not with your money, not with your car, not with your house. Okay? Not none of that. It starts with the morals and treating people fairly and having reciprocity, displaying clear intentions and stuff like that. Nowadays, y'all throw y'all rock and hide y'all hand. You know what I'm saying? And then 50 Cent said something to the nature of off the that song he did with Eminem on that Get Rich or Die Trying. He said you shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. And if you got a glass jaw, you should watch your mouth, because I'll break your face. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta stop doing that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be for real out here. You know what I'm saying? Don't be selfish, and be extraordinary. You know what I'm saying? So, law 14, no hypocrisy. Law number 14, no hypocrisy. This nation, Malcolm X said it best. America's democracy is hypocrisy. Okay? I may play a video here in a moment with one of these, because one of these I think may have sparked me to play a video. Okay? I may play a video, but I don't know yet. We're going to see. All right? So let me think about that. Okay? Concealed intentions destroy confidence. If you cannot show yourself as who you are, what are you really? If you cannot show yourself as you are, who would trust you? Who would love you? Who would respect you? Okay, even a criminal praises respect, love, and trust. What hypocrisy? Okay, in the game of power, that which is displayed becomes error. That which is honest retreats. Okay? Do you want the appearance of power or power itself? Because I am lowly, poor, and unremarkable in my life. Does this speak against my wisdom? My wisdom endures. I show you a lowly, unremarkable person. I show you the resilience of a common nobody. I show you anonymity as the opposite of power. In my heart, I want to show you the way beyond the tyrant. But who am I to preach to you? You see, this author is very humble. I don't like the word humble because I say humble and I really don't, because words, y'all gotta really understand me when it comes to the English language, man. It's a bastard language and it casts spells. I want to say this. I don't want to say the author is humble, but the author is coming from you let's what's another word for humble? He's coming from a way that's not arrogant. Okay, so he professes that he or she ain't got all the money in the world. They ain't the most extraordinary person. They ain't got no big reputation and all that. And the author, what trips me out is that he or she remains anonymous. I ain't seen nobody write no book and be anonymous until I read this book. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow, this author is very, I'm gonna say it, humble. Even though I don't like the word. He or she is very humble. Way humble. You know what I'm saying? Let me read you something about the law of wisdom because the author brought up wisdom. So let me read that. I wanna read that to y'all. I wanna read that to y'all. Hold on. Okay, here it go. The law of wisdom. Wisdom erases karma. Okay? Well, bad karma. All right? Because not all karma is bad. If you have the wisdom to learn your lessons through love and wisdom, you can mitigate your suffering. Sadly, we seem to learn the fastest through pain, through directly experiencing the consequences of our actions. As an example, you greedily take from others, and instead of learning through wisdom and love that this is wrong, you have to experience from others someone greedily taken from you, whether later in this life or in a future lifetime. Okay, so in the law of wisdom, we're going to give two examples. All right, example one: in your last life, you were married to a soul who is your mate today and whom you cruelly left for another in that past lifetime, excuse me. Before you were born into your current life, you may have agreed to be left by your mate under similar circumstances in order to allow you to balance your karma and directly experience the pain of abandonment. Ooh, that's got to be hard to make that type of contract or agreement. If through the wisdom of life mastery awareness, it is easier to detach from the relationships with love, you will ease the pain of parting while also passing your own test, thus absolving karma and evolving from within. Example two: assume that your love that you have astrologically, destined a severe relationship test for May of your 35th year birth or 35th year, If you have learned through past life awareness as well as your present life learning to be positive, non-judgmental, and without expectations in your relationships, you may only experience an argument with your mate on that fateful day in May. But if you haven't learned your past lessons and have intensified your disharmony during your relationship, you might experience a divorce in May of your 35th year. Okay? Excuse me. So that all ties in just being wise, okay? Not being a hypocrite, not going through the same thing, not just going through the motions of life, okay? You have to learn. That's why I said earlier in this video, reflected on experiences are the best teachers, not experience alone. Okay, experience is not going to teach you nothing. If you just experience something and you don't reflect on it after, again, I'm making emphasis on, and I'm saying it emphatically, that you cannot move forward in your life. And you're just going to repeat the same cycle year after year, Mercury retrograde after retrograde. So it's on you at the end of the day. like that sad, like Uncle Sam sign. I'm pointing just like him. His head ain't tilted though. Okay. All right. That's enough. All right. So going to law 15. Attachment is Hydra, a dragon. All right. Now let me preface this, man. Let me preface this, man. All right. So Hydra, we know Hydra from Marvel, the evil terrorist empire, but we're not talking about the organization, evil terrorist organization from Marvel Comics. No, we're not talking about that. What we're talking about, Hydra is the mythological creature that has multiple heads, a scary sea monster, snake like creature that Hercules had to defeat in Greek mythology. So this is important because the author is using a metaphor or a simile, whatever, however you want to put it. He's using an analogy pretty much of Hydra, the mythological creature, right? Hercules had to defeat it, but it was hard to defeat it because every time Hercules would sever one of the heads off, cut one of the heads off, it would just grow again. It would keep growing because it was that one head that he had to cut off. It was that immortal one. And as soon as he cut that immortal head off, that's when the mythological creature died. Okay. Now, if you look at it from a biological standpoint, there's actual Hydra, and if you put it under a microscope, it's the same thing as the mythological creature. It's only in biology and the science when you see it, and you see that under the microscope it has multiple heads. It's crazy. It has multiple heads, just like that mythological creature. That science look and see it. It's actually an organism. So it's really an organism, okay? So you're gonna understand why he used attachment is Hydra, a dragon, okay? You're gonna see why after I read it. So that's why I preface this 15th law so you can understand what he talking about, or he or she's talking about. You know what I'm saying? All right, so that's what Hydra is, that dragon. That's what he's referencing. He or she is referencing. Okay, so let's go get into it. It says, in striving against the adversary, you create an endless circuit, an ongoing fear, terror, intrigue, and folly. The true adversary is not in the world, but within your own attachment. We already talked about the law of the law of conscious detachment. Okay, but do I need to become a monk to let go of my frustration and envy? Certainly not. Do I need to renounce the world utterly to live a happy life? Certainly not. I mean, you can, but you're gonna come back anyway. This go back to the retreat from the crowd law. All right. The goal of the tyrant reminds me of the impossible goal of Buddhism, or the misguided medieval crusades. How silly. What nonsense. While the others strive for either power or nirvana. Nirvana is heaven, okay? Is heaven. Nirvana is heaven. Alright. I've already forgotten both. Not in nirvana, but in some samsara. That's where life is lived. Okay, so samsara is reincarnation, life and death, life and death, life and death. So that's what he's saying. That's where he lives. He's in that constant cycle of life and death, life and death. And in reality, he's right. He or she's right, because every day that you go to sleep, you die, and then when you wake up, you become alive again. You get what I'm saying? So it's not. I know when we say death when you never wake up again. But when you sleep, you are temporarily dead. Okay, you are temporarily dead when you go to sleep, and then when you wake up, then that's when you are alive again. You come up as the sun comes up, and when the moon comes down, the moon is more you winding down. You know what I'm saying? You becoming restful. You know what I'm saying? If that's a word, I'll make up my own words like Shakespeare, so whatever. You become in a relaxing state. So then you become so relaxed that you die. Okay. And that's temporary death. Okay. When you go to sleep, that's why they say sleep is the cousin of death. You get what I'm saying? That's why people say that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're dead when you're asleep temporarily. All right. So we have to understand that life is a cycle. I already had said that anyway when I was talking about time. You can't judge it on a linear scale. Okay, when you talk about the past, the future, and the present, that's all in one. Okay, because right now I've already explained this before, and you probably heard it in another one of my videos, that the present is now, and then when I, assuming tomorrow happens, the future, uh that's going to happen too. You know what I'm saying? That had to happen before I got here. You know what I'm saying? And then the past, this is going to be the past once tomorrow hits. You know what I'm saying? So the past is going to be here tomorrow. The present is already here, and then the future, before this was the future. I mean, how am I trying to say this? Let me say it correctly. So the present is now, right? This is going to be the past, and prior to it being the present, this was the future. Okay, because before it became the present, it was the future first. This wasn't, today wasn't such and such day, was today. So today wasn't September 26th. You know, today wasn't Monday. You know what I'm saying? So all that is in a cycle. All that's in one. All that's in is simultaneous. So I'm explaining that again so you can understand. I want you to make sure you. I want to make sure you understand this clear. Okay. Prior to this day, it was the future. Okay. This was the future prior to this day. Today is present, and then tomorrow will be the past. So that is a cycle. That's not saying A B C D E F G. That's not saying that. It's saying that A B C E F G all are in this cycle, in this circle together, this hamster wheel of life together. And that's what he's talking about when he says samsara. Okay, rebirth and death. It's all in a cycle. It's not just doing it from A to B. I can't overemphasize that enough. You know what I'm saying? People need to get out of this westernized indoctrination. It's not leading you to nowhere. It's not. It's leading you in the middle of nowhere. Okay, it has been doing it for this long. It's time for you to wake up to something new, fresh ideas, get you up and going to keep you alive. You know what I'm saying? This westernized indoctrination philosophy and psychology is killing you fast. Okay, you need to get out of this mindset. All the isms are not good. Usually if it has an ism behind it, it's not good. You shouldn't be following it. Okay, all right. So the next one is law 16, and it says be vigilant, excuse me, and ever present. All right, in your absence you are forgotten. In your neglect, the past labor falls to ruin. It is not your appearance or disappearance which counts, but the quality of what you accomplish, the sincerity of its source. In your presence, we must feel your compassion. In your absence, we must marvel at your loyalty. Neither needy nor aloof, your vigilance attends to what is necessary, then retreats. No need of games. Your companions know your heart at all times. Gotta have that mutual support group. It goes back to having that mutual support group, man. Yeah, so all right. All right, so this one is Law 17. And it says advance and retreat according to nature. Okay. This is kind of similar to retreat from the crowd, but I'm gonna let you guys listen so you can understand what the author is talking about. Calculated moves misunderstand both self and rival. Calculated moves become rigid or overconfident. Calculated moves forget the very ground beneath us. Allow an element of irrationality and enthusiasm to guide you. Move which let me stop right there. I get what he's saying because all right, let's go with the cliche saying that logic over emotions, right? Okay. Most people say that. As a logician, I can't be a logician every day. Some things don't require logic. Some things just require you to feel. So it has to be a balance of both. And the reason why it has to be a balance of logic and emotion, not just logic over emotion, it has to be both. You know what I'm saying? It has to be on a balance because sometimes you cannot say that. Okay? The heart communicates with the brain all the time. The heart pumps or the heart sends about 40 to 50,000 neuron transmitters to the brain to communicate to the brain. All right. So the heart is definitely capable of thinking. All right. Instead of changing somebody's mind, you should try changing their heart. If you change somebody's heart, you got them. You should change somebody's mind. That's that's a hit or miss, man. You never know. You know what I'm saying? They could change their mind again. But if you got somebody's heart, that's their soul. So you have to be able to know that. You can't just be saying logic over emotion. And you definitely most certainly can't say emotions over logic. You definitely can't say that. You know what I'm saying? That's like saying the baby gave birth to the mama. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. That you definitely can't do that. You know what I'm saying? That's going back to the educated man, the uneducated man, and miseducated man. The miseducated man is going around telling everybody logic over emotion, logic over emotion. Hear me roar. The educated man says logic and emotion has to be balanced. You cannot just say logic over emotion. Okay? Okay, watch this. The educated man says logic and emotion has to be balanced. Okay? The uneducated man says emotions over logic. And the miseducated man says logic always beats emotion. You see where it is? You see how the shit made its way back and tied it all back together. See, we make shit happen here. We make shit happen. Let me say that again. The educated man understands that emotion and logic has to be on the same balanced scale. You may have to use logic at one point in time. You may have to use emotion. There's a such thing as emotional intelligence. You think it's intelligence and that's it. You gotta have emotional intelligence too. You can't control your emotions if you don't have emotional intelligence. So it has to be a balance. You can't just say one over the other. Again, the educated man says, I'm gonna say this again. I'm repeating myself tonight. We doing it big, man. We gotta do it big. If we come back and it's been a long time since I seen y'all beautiful faces, we gotta tell the truth. The educated man says logic and emotion have to be balanced. Okay. The uneducated man says emotions over logic. And the miseducated man says logic over emotions. That's it, people. That's it. All right. So we're gonna go back to this again, man. We gotta go back to it. We're gonna go back to it. So let's read, let's continue to read from here. Moves which flow from a building momentum fit the moment. Moves which interrupt the flow of things disrupt your progress. Keeping others in terror or suspended judgment breeds distrust. Purposeful unpredictability makes you seem infantile or foolish, or worse, a clumsy manipulator. Okay? Always imagine your enemies know you better than you know yourself. Always imagine your opponents will see through your antics. Always imagine your lack of natural flow will seem inhumane and vicious. Okay? So yeah, you don't want to underestimate nobody. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody can have your number. So I definitely can feel what he or she, excuse me, what he or she is saying. Excuse me. All right. So let's go back to he or she talked about suspend judgment. Let's go back to judgment. Let's go to that. Non-judgment and forgiveness. Let's go to that. All right. We have been carefully taught to evaluate and judge virtually everything we experience, okay? However, there is no such thing as right or wrong or good or bad. We gonna get back to that. Everything that occurs is just another event. By judging something, it becomes for us the way we judge it, and it stays that way until we release the judgment. Judging anyone or anything as being less than perfect blocks our ability to respond to the essence of the person or thing and creates discomfort within us that can only be relieved by opening our hearts first to the judgment, then to the person or thing we have judged. Forgiveness is the willingness to open the energy locked up in our judgment. Open our hearts allows forgiveness to expand into unconditional love. Okay. Now, granted, we can say that there's no such thing as good or bad. We can say that. But in reality, that's not how we live and operate, because there are people out here that practice witchcraft, Jewish mysticism, imperialism, and that's unrighteousness. Okay? We understand that there are witches and warlocks out here, and we're not a part of those agendas. Okay, so we are here to serve the higher planes of existence and not the lower planes of existence. Now, granted, I get that we're not supposed to judge things on the surface, but I will be a fool to say that I don't judge based on concrete discernment. You have to use discernment when you judge. You don't. That's why they say don't judge a book by its cover. Okay. Once you build the rapport and once you read the book or and understand it and stuff like that, then you can judge it concretely. Concretely, excuse me. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? The only time judgment becomes a problem is when people just judge hastily. It is okay to be so without no and overwhelmed that you feel like you need to excuse me on that. When people judge hastily without thinking about what they're gonna say, and they just said anything and you don't know the background story of it, okay? So we have to understand that. So for me, it's not that I'm just judging you because, oh man, I'm judging you because it's you know what I'm saying, because because I just want to judge you, and I want to make fun of you, and I want to shun you. Like, nah, we a real person, a person with that understands the golden rule and things of that sort, and the 5 pillars of life that we talked about in this video. You don't judge people like that. That's foolishness. Okay, and that's daffiness. All right. So we're not doing that. All right. So, but just be mindful. Okay. Just be mindful of your actions. Have mindful actions and ideas. Okay. All right. So let's go to number 18. All right. Number 18 states, no help for it. Okay. No help for it. Neither a fortress nor a straw hut will save you. Just ask the 3 little pigs. The 3 little pigs had to work out the hard way, find that out the hard way. All right. Recover inwardly and the answer will come. In calm meditation, you return to fluidity of your particular nature. A rigid place will jail you. A flimsy place will make you uneasy. A constant traveling will make you go mad. Where then can you find Zen? Zen means peace, okay? A rigid place makes you resolute. A flimsy place makes you pliable. Or constant travel awakens your creativity. What has changed? Only your attitude. The safest harbor is a responsive heart. Remember, it goes back to the heart. If your heart, your soul ain't in the right place, it's going to determine if that place is going to be a jail for you, or if it's going to be uneasy, or if you're traveling, it's going to make you go mad. But if you have a sound heart, and if you are at peace with your heart and your soul and yourself, your rigid place will become resolute. Your flimsy place will become pliable. And then when you travel, you will gain creativity and you will gain some type of knowledge from your travels. And that all depends on you. And it goes back to the 5 pillars of life: accountability, honor, ethics, responsibility, and integrity. Okay. So if you're not in the safest harbor, then wherever it don't matter if you go to Africa, if you go to Europe, if you go to Asia, or wherever you go, nothing is not going to complete you. All right, nothing won't complete you because this ain't right. All right. Okay, so we on law number 19, y'all. Law number 19. I appreciate y'all sticking with a brother. Okay, I appreciate y'all more than I can express, than words can express. Okay, I definitely appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button, that subscribe button, and even if for all my haters out there, dislike this video with your hating ass. Now, But it don't matter. Like I appreciate the love and whatever else comes with it. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, so number 19, abide without contention. Okay, it would take uh, preternatural uh intuition. Preternatural means supernatural. That's all it means. It means beyond the natural. Okay, to understand all people at every moment. Do I know who I'm dealing with? This is uncertain. Do I care? Yes and no. Following a path of non-contention, we are ready for anyone. Following a path of non-contention at all times, you resemble an ally to all who you meet. Letting go of ego striving, you alone seem to listen and understand the problems of many. In putting yourself last, you display care without affectation, grace without flattery, loyalty without demand, and insight without effort. In this way, perhaps more power comes to you than you care to wield. You will constantly be declining offers of advancement. This has been my experience in selfless vigilance. The favor of too many. Be a decent person, and you will not offend the wrong person. How hard is that? Yet the world is cruel and unsatiable. Okay? Insatiable means that it's not satisfying. Okay? All right. So, having said that, it just goes back to the golden rule. When when you treat good people good, you're gonna be good. You'll be good in the long run. Okay, I don't believe in treat everybody good because it's some wicked ass people out here, and they don't deserve to be treated well. Okay, you treat people that do good by you. Okay, you match that energy, whatever energy that person's giving you, you match it. Now, granted, in Maya philosophy, it does teach you any solution to a problem you do is opposite. Now, granted, under certain circumstances, you have to do the opposite. Okay, but sometimes there's a time and a place for everything, and you'll understand that when that time comes, when them circumstances come in your life, you have to be flexible. You know what I'm saying? You have to be ever flowing. Okay, it's kind of like the art of war. Okay, it's a time for you to be big, it's a time for you to be small, it's a time for you to be silent, it's a time for you to talk, it's a time for you to do all of that stuff. You have to act accordingly. Okay, so be flexible. All right, be flexible. All right. And again, when he goes down, when he says be a decent person, you will not offend the wrong person. Yeah, I always tell people a righteous person, you can't say something unrighteous to a righteous person, and you can't, and vice versa. So you can't say nothing wrong or say something unrighteous to a righteous person, and vice versa. Or you can't say something righteous to an unrighteous person, because if they already got it in their heart that they're either righteous or unrighteous, whatever you say makes no difference. It's not going to make no difference anyway. Okay, either they're going to accept you and they're going to be decent, or they not. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. Okay, guys, we got 5 more to go. So we're on number 20 now. We got 5 more to go. All right. So law number 20 says no hesitation. Okay. If you are committed, commit. If you're wavering, excuse me, Do not commit. If you are hesitating, you do not know yourself. Knowing yourself, you can always see both sides. Knowing yourself, you have risen beyond your prejudice. Knowing yourself, you are more than your animal desires. Knowing yourself, in great hesitation, you learn the value of taking no action. You purify your commitments. You get free of false chains, breaking free into the non-dual mind. Your strategy is neither aloof nor calculating. You merge with the way, okay? And the way moves through you. Classroom ethics and political speeches do not suit the real world. No moralizing will change the species. Do not seek to educate the world. But ironically, he or she wrote this book is educating the world. Shit. Anyway, let me not pick on this author. I know they don't mean no harm. Alright? Refute all Western philosophy. I've been telling people this. I've been saying this for the longest, before, during, and after me reading this shit. I've been telling people this shit. Westernized, man, I'm telling you, the westernized indoctrination it's really new science. It's really new. Why are we following this shit? This shit is not helping us. You know what I'm saying? Our ancestors knew the way. This new shit is not the way. We actually more primitive than our ancestors. It's actually disrespectful to call our ancestors primitive. We are the primitive ones. We don't know how to grow food. We don't know how to be grounded in the earth and be in tune with the stars and constellations and shit like that. Don't be disrespecting our ancestors and saying, oh, we better now. We got our phones and we got this. We think we all that. We can take selfies now. Man, that don't mean shit, bro. Our ancestors had a lot of that shit. They had compasses, they had combs, they had toilets, they had light bulbs, all that shit that you think that's mainstream now. Our ancestors been had that shit. You know what I'm saying? And we taught other motherfuckers how to do it. You know what I'm saying? So this ain't really nothing. You know what I'm saying? We need to stop dwelling in nonsense. All right? So stop accepting westernized indoctrination. It's not helping you. It's getting you further away from the agenda, and it's putting you the righteous agenda. You going towards the unrighteous agenda, and it's leading you right into the slaughterhouse. No different from the pig. No different from the pig. All right. A pig is different from a wild boar. You gotta study the difference and why a wild boar became a wild boar versus the pig. The pig is the most friendliest animal on the planet. It blindly just eats up everything and just follows, and it goes where the farmer and the herders is telling it, and it goes right into the slaughterhouse, and then it becomes a pork chop, and then it becomes bacon. Now the wild boar, on the other hand, it's not domesticated. It's in the wild. It becomes, it's the pig that drifts off, okay, and it gets hairy, it gets tusk, because when it drifts off, it had the body becomes self-sufficing to the dangers that come at it, and the wild boar will mess you up. It's not as friendly as a pig because it had to retreat from the slaughterhouse. That's if we talking about revolutionary or somebody getting off the tracks or getting away from the status quo, that's the best analogy that I can use. Okay, that wild boar don't play. It's no longer a pig no more, because it's not following westernized indoctrination, which is saying, yeah, oink, 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 I'm gonna keep eating up my own slop and eating up my own feces and my own babies. Like, no, you're not supposed to be doing that. Okay? And I'm just using this as an analogy when you think about religion, feminism, all these different isms that we claim that's helping us in this American society is pushing us back. But y'all can't see it because y'all on this miseducation way where y'all are beyond reproach. Y'all can't be told anything because your philosophy is the only philosophy, and that's the way. No, no. The way is just being righteous and doing your shadow work and being the best version of yourself so you can make the world a better place. If you ain't doing that, then I don't know what the hell you doing. Okay? Let me get back to that because I stopped on refute all Western philosophy. Okay, that took me there. It took me there. Yeah, it did. With the whisper of power and reversal, do as thy wilt, but accept the consequences. Okay? What I fear, others also fear. Okay? Alright. No one is a damn fool all the time. That is law 21. No one is a fool all the damn, or no one is a fool no one is a damn fool all the time. Excuse me. All right. So they say even a broken clock is right twice a day. Damn. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Okay? Sometimes a seducer will seem dumber than he is. Sometimes a dumb person will be too dumb to trick. No one is a damn fool all the time. Every personality type has its rival. Every strength has its particular reversal. Intelligence summons regret. Stupidity feels helpless. Mediocrity is never satisfied. Spirituality is too easily content. Emotion will trump logic. I ain't even about to say nothing. You already know how I feel. Emotions trumping logic. That's a no-go. I highly disagree with that. I disagree with that. I just have to throw that in there. Okay, let's go back to that. Emotion will trump logic. Okay. Y'all already know. Go back to the rewind this video and you see what I said about emotions over logic. You already know my stance on that. So I ain't even about to go over that again. Intuition will trump instinct. Thinking will trump moods. So this is a bit, the author already had admitted that during in one of his earlier laws, I forgot what law it was, but you can go back in the video. He talked about how he contradicts himself, because right here, and he's proven that he's contradicted himself on this, because right here he says emotion will trump logic, and then after he says that, he said intuition will trump instinct, and then this is the part where emotion will trump logic, and then that part of thinking will trump moods. That part is the same. Like, All right, okay. Sensuality will trump everyone eventually. Do I not have a body? I must eat. I must sleep. And much more besides. So long as we have a body, there's a source. This is the source of our troubles, excuse me. Because I was born, that already sounds like an immortal regret. Aroused by physical beauty, every fool has at least one brilliant thought. So begins our troubles here. Now, I get that we have hardships in life, but you can see the pessimism in this law right here because he says because I was born, that already sounds like an immortal regret. In Maya philosophy, we teach we live with no regret. And we chose to be here because out of millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of sperm that ran off, that shot from the egg from the penis, or I mean shot the sperm came from the testicles of the penis and then it shot out, which is a representation of your parents just open or your father opening the door, or your parents, you could say your father, your mother opening the door, and and the sperm, and they opened the door, and you just shot and ran the race. They just was there to open the door. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't have to do nothing else but win a race, and once you won that race, you was born a winner, not born to be saying it's an immortal regret. Like I don't agree with that because our soul is what counts. This physical vessel doesn't mean nothing. Yeah, we have hardships, but those hardships are there to teach us lessons, to gain clarity, and to get more comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So let's go into the comfort and discomfort because he talks about immortal regret. Let's talk about that. He says, because he talks about the body. Our human bodies are a magnet instrument are magnificent instruments that tell us all the time just how aligned we are with the energy flowing around and through us. Discomfort in our bodies is a signal that we are resisting the flow of energy or love. Okay? The greater the discomfort, the more we know that we are resisting the giving and receiving of love. As soon as we notice discomfort, whether physical, mental, or emotional, we best support ourselves by focusing our awareness on our feelings, feeling them fully, and then feeling love for them and for ourselves. When we allow love to flow freely, our bodies reflect this free flowing energy. Okay, so yeah, I don't know what the hell he talking about. He or she talking about immortal regret. I don't regret shit. I won. I was born a winner. I came out this motherfucker winning that race. So I'm here living my best life, whether I know it's gonna have its twists and its turns and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna make the best of it. And then when my soul travels on, uh it's gonna it's gonna be all according to the deeds that I had, you know what I'm saying, that I've completed or that I've shown on this earth. You know what I'm saying? So it's not no regret that you're here. You shouldn't ever think that. You shouldn't ever think that when you are born that it was regretful. I've had thoughts of that before because I want to speak on that personally because yeah, some people feel like that when you go through tragic and tragedy and hardships and stuff, it will make you feel like that. It will make you feel like that. But at the end of the day, when you find your purpose and your mission and you complete those objectives, it ain't nothing more satisfying than that. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing more satisfying than that. And then how can you live in regret when there's so much tasty foods out here? If anything, boy, you better eat some good ass food. And when you eat some good ass food, man, like worries go away. You smoke some good ass weed, your worries go it goes away. When you have some good ass sex, your worries go away, man. I'm telling you. So that ain't none of that's regret. You know what I'm saying? I'm appreciative of life. You know what I'm saying? Meditation. When you go through meditation, you know what I'm saying? When you exercise, all this is a high for me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know what the hell he or she talking about. I ain't with that one. You know what I'm saying? I ain't with that. So let's go to law 22. Transfer or transform power into weakness. Let's say this again. Transform power into weakness. Okay? Let's read it. Beat swords to plowshares. Disenchant luxury. Mock the imperial clumsiness. Put music and poetry against warfare. Remind the lunatic general of his daughter or grandmother. In all things, the highest things devalue themselves. Lives like tides retreat and advance by turn. The majority of people have no real use for power. Let that be a puzzle to all future tyrants. Waiting in the wing, the sides of the stage remain unseen. People go on watching this cosmic play of motion. Others take their turn on stage, then depart. And tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. That's assuming that there is a tomorrow, because a person can pass away tragically or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get what he's saying. Poke fun of the status quo, laugh at them, use poetry and music to as a way to get back at them. Because Michael Jackson did it, Tupac did it. The greatest R&B and rock stars and rappers have done it. The noteworthy ones. I'm not talking about just people that's just singing about anything. I'm talking about people, talking about everyday issues, going against the status quo and stuff like that. Now I get that, but to me that's not weak. That's power. So I get what he's trying to say, but if you come from a sincere place, I don't want to say he because that's why I say he or she, because you don't know if it's a he or she. I'm leaning more towards a man because my own biases and my prejudices and prepossessions and predispositions. I'm leaning more towards male, but it could be a woman that wrote this. Anyway, that's beside the point. My point is that this is powerful. When you do that, when you make fun, when you got the guts to make fun of them and laugh and point at the devil and stuff like that and mock them, that takes some bravery. You know what I'm saying? Because some people, they'll take you out for that, and people have been taken out for that just because they was calling out the status quo in their music and stuff like that. We saw what they did to Michael Jackson and Prince and all the great ones. We saw what they did firsthand right before our eyes. We see it. So come on, man. Like like Nah, man, you can't say transform power into weakness, man. And you're not coming from a weak position when you are a poet or you're a musician. You're not weak because you got a heavy influence. Your words and the instruments of your song or whatever, whether you'll be a musician or just a poet, it has a power to it. It come because those that music that and the words that's coming out, it's sending out a vibration. You know what I'm saying? So you not being less powerful by doing that. You not being weak. You know what I'm saying? So I guess, you know what I'm saying, I'm not following that. But yeah, I mean, to each his own. You know what I'm saying? Again, I told you everything that this author said in here I don't necessarily agree with, but it does spark some good conversation. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm open minded. You know what I'm saying? I'm not naive, but I am open minded to new stuff and different views and perspectives. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, not everything that I'm reading from in here I agree with. I don't. That's to me. I'm like, you gotta be capable of thinking for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So everything in this text is not for me true. You know what I'm saying? I go what resonates with my own common sense and with my own reasoning. Okay. So law 23, disperse your gifts. Okay. Concentration yields to dispersion. Nature breaks apart and reforms. Your skin repairs itself over time. Nature grows and spreads its seeds. In an instant, the largest tree is struck down by lightning. Meanwhile, the dry grass and saplings sway with the wind. Be supple and pliant. Flexibility is the way of life. Rigidity is the way of death. Because the tyrant is rigid and inhumane, I do not teach the way of the tyrant. Okay, that's the 48 laws of power. Okay, there is a nameless virtue which resembles the movement of nature. Okay, I style it the way because I know how it. I don't know how else because I know not how else to describe it. Excuse me. And if a single word sufficed, I would use that word. But the way is continuously changing, growing, and moving. Thus, the way which can be named is not the true way. That's why I was saying earlier, all these isms, I can't follow that shit. At one point in time, when I was naive and I was looking for, something to do or to be a part of, yeah. But none of these isms, because they all are part of the westernized philosophy and indoctrination. Okay, let's keep going. When words do not suffice, remain silent. A wise man once said nothing at all, and he just looked at you and saw that if you was gonna get it. So I'm gonna just take a few moments to just look at y'all. Okay. All right. Use the teaching which uses no words. Apply teaching which goes beyond words. Let me see if you can get it. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, maybe, hopefully, you'll reach that epiphany and you will get it soon enough. Okay? Number 24. Okay? Number 24. Go beyond politics. Before chasing power, ask yourself what is right. He says that, let me stop right there. He says before chasing power, ask yourself what is right. I say ask yourself what is righteous. because there's a difference between being right and being righteous. What's necessarily right is not necessarily righteous, because what's right could be something that is for the status quo. What is righteous can be is something for everybody. It's not just for the status quo. A person can be right all day just to feed their own ego. But what I think he or she is meaning is to be righteous instead of being right, which is a difference. Okay. I'm very big on choosing the correct word. Okay, I know this author doesn't mean no harm with that, but still I must point that out, because we must be righteous versus being right. Because when you try to be right all the time, that's when that ego comes in. And then when to again go back to the quote, when there's too much pride in the room or too much ego in the room, there's no room for wisdom. Okay, all right. You must reach a higher echelon. You must reach some type of soul evolution. And I'm going to read something from that. You know what I'm saying? So y'all can understand what soul evolution is. All right, so let's read this. The life of the courtier is sycophantic, compromising, and shallow. When somebody is sycophantic, that means they are a brown noser. That means they kiss ass. It's a fancy word for ass kisser. Don't be a sycophant. Don't be a sycophant. That's how you say it, sycophant. But he said sycophantic. So it's adjective in that sense. Okay? But anyway, staying oblique, using flattery, placating the regime. What do you hope to accomplish? The courtier only reinforces what is already corrupt. Stacey Abram, Jim Clyburn, sycophants, modern day ones. Okay? The courtier gains the means but loses the reason. No consciousness. Want to get all the, reap the benefits, but don't have no type of consciousness of their people, undermining their people just so they can get all the gain the means. Okay, now let's keep going. Human politics are an unending game of favors. That's mainstream politics, and we're gonna break this down here in a minute. Hold on. Human politics are unending game of favors, yet who remembers the will of the people? We're going to break this down. Hold on, let me finish the rest of it. If you go beyond politics, the people will notice. If you go beyond politics, you draw upon an untapped well of hopes, human hopes. Following the status quo, power is a game. Departing from the status quo, power is a destiny. Let's go back to that, or what he was saying. Human politics are an unending game of favors. That's right. That's all you're doing when you're doing Machiavellian politics. Again, it goes back to having a heart of a lion and being cunning as a fox. Oh, if you do this for me, then I will, do this for you. It's like it's only self-interest, and then you're undermining the people. Like, you get so caught up in the mainstream politics when you talk about Democrats and Republicans. They so far gone from the people. They just gonna say anything, you know. And then you got everyday politics. Everyday politics is waking up and making a decision every day. It's deciding what clothes you're gonna wear. It's deciding on what movie you're gonna watch. It's deciding what you're gonna eat. It's deciding. That's politics. But a lot the everyday things that we choose and we may take for granted, though, that right there, we're making political decisions. What store I'm gonna go to? Am I gonna turn left or am I gonna walk right? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. You're making a decision. So everyday people are making political decisions. So when he or she says go beyond politics, in my humble opinion, I believe he's talking about mainstream politics because he used the courtier as a modern or as an example of not to be a psychophant. Okay, so if you go beyond that, then yeah, you own something. He's right. He is. I'm 100% with him or her on this because we must understand that it's grassroots. You know what I'm saying? Although I'm not a part of this FBA and non-FBA stuff going on, like some of the talking points that some of the people that, whatever, like if you're talking about black issues and stuff like that, I can follow some of what Tariq is saying and follow some of what Professor Black Truth is saying and Great Black Shark. Shout out to all of them, by the way, because they're putting in profound work for the community, and they are grassroots. See, this is a prime example of them going beyond politics. Okay, these people go beyond politics. The people that I was just talking about, they've been going grassroots for 10 years plus. You get what I'm saying? So you got people like that that's not catering to the status quo. Although they could, you know what I'm saying? They could cater to that, but you got people out here that's this like Jim Clyburn and Stacey Abrams and even Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, all these people are part of they all are brown nosers, aka sycophants, aka ass kissers for the Democratic Party agenda. Okay. All right. So that's what I'm gonna say. And I'm not Republican either. So I don't want nobody to say, oh, he Republican. That's why he keep calling out the Democrats and stuff. Like I'm not a part of no party. I'm a non partisan. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm just AD, okay? And I'm a human being with a soul. All right. I ain't got nothing to do with the imaginary or the include what do they be saying, uh the illusion of inclusion. I ain't a part of that agenda. How you gonna be a Republican and a Democrat and you not even invited to the meetings? You don't even know what the hell they be talking about in them rooms. You just voting, but you ain't with them in them rooms unless you funding them and you actually are going. And you are a part of the party. But if you on the outside looking in and you saying, yeah, I'm a Democrat, I'm a this, man, you not even where was you at when they was making the laws then? You know what I'm saying? You wasn't in the same room. So how is you really a Democrat? How is you really a Republican if you wasn't even in the same room with them when they was making up the laws or writing up the bill and shit? Okay? So this is the last one for the evening, y'all. Drum roll, please. All right. It says return to the beginning. Return to the beginning. Law 25. Return to the beginning. Okay. It says as life unfolds, one sometimes feels an identity crisis in coping with change. People will flail wildly, buying new clothes, buying new cars, drinking different drinks. Hey, he used alliteration right there. Drinking different drinks. Alliteration is when you have uh, words in the same sentence and they all begin with the same letter. So that's alliteration. So drinking different drinks. They all begin with the letter D. But anyway, sorry. That's a side note. That's a side note. But anyway. And for what? They have forgotten the origin. They have forgotten who they are. They have lost the way. The crowd sees the mask, but the face concealed remains the same. Okay. But some people, when they wear a mask, they wear that mask so much that their face has grown into the mask. So you got to be careful of that too. Arthur, I'm anonymous Arthur. Because you was talking about, you said the crowd sees the mask, but the face concealed remains the same. It can happen, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit. But by saying what I said, that sometimes people can grow, like, can be so masked up that they face finally fits that shit, and that's really them now. You know what I'm saying? It's no longer a mask. It has actually became who they are, because they have became so masked that they have no choice but to embrace that mask now. It was there to just have it for temporary purposes. Yeah, I'm gonna take it off when I get home, or take it off when I get this way. But nah, face done grew up into it now, and it's permanent, and you can't take it off. That's all. It all goes back to the thoughts, words, and deeds not contradicting each other. Okay, your thoughts, words, and deeds must not contradict. Okay, that's why he was talking about at the top. He said people will flail wildly, like that little, that little thing that be at the car. You see them at the dealerships, them little flailing things. They be flopping their arms and shit, flailing wildly. That's what he talking about. I'm using that as an analogy, but that's what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? Blindly just flailing. Like, come on, man. All right, let's go back to the mask quote. The crowd sees the mask, but the face concealed remains the same. If you want change, educate yourself. If you want gestures only, you will remain content. No more symbolism, people. No more symbolism. And having said that, I love y'all. I hope y'all really got something out of this program, because this is the type of conversations that we need to have, because a lot of the times, you know, we are so stuck on nonsense that we fail to realize, what we really need to be focused on. We need to get rid of the distractions, tap into our higher selves, and become the best version of ourselves. And having said that, I really love y'all from the bottom of my heart, the deepest part of my heart and soul. And again, please like, share, subscribe to the Adrian X Maya Enlightenment channel. And I am out like a light. You know what I'm saying? I'm out.